Welcome for everyone that is here in person and on Discord. We are continuing our game pitch presentations from Tuesday because, wow, we had like 18 pitches this year, which is crazy. I think last year we had 14 or so, which we thought was also nuts. But I guess we're getting big as a club and people are very creative, and I like that. So, usual advertisement. Please help support the club. You can do this by becoming a VIP member. $15 per semester, 25 for the year. You get discounts and priority stuff for events. We should do events soon. You get stuff like t-shirts, bucket hats, keychains, so on. We have cool merchandise, so you can get uh, stickers and keychains. Of course, there's a discount if you're a VIP member. It's very cool. You can help support the club. Merch form, you guys already know. And today's agenda is pitch presentations part two. So, without further ado,
Okay, hey everybody. I don't know if anyone knows me, but right now that's not important. Um, I am I am introducing you to the game pitch of my game idea, Choco-Factory After Dark. So, for a quick introduction, you could call me SF. I am the creator and the director for the game. I am a VCD major here at Cal Poly, and I am aspiring to become a digital and 2D animator and artist. I have taken 4D and 5D classes, and you could follow me on my channel. I know it's small, but it would it would be fine, and I'm here available on Discord. So, what my game is about, the plot of the game takes place where you and your group of friends are urban explorers who have decided to explore through an abandoned resort that is similar to either Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory and Disney World. And you plan to make a profit on it off of YouTube, but apparently something goes wrong. So you ended up getting trapped in the resort where you have to face off killer animatronics and hidden monsters while trying to reach back to the surface of the resort and to find help. And you have to survive like a whole week before you get killed. Okay. So my game is inspired by a few of these popular games that caught my interest, like Five Nights at Freddy's, for example, as well as Batman: The Telltale series, Poppy Playtime, and the game Danganronpa. I don't know if anyone heard about that, but these are the games that is going to be based off of. And I'm looking for plenty of people who would like to who would like to join this group. Obviously, I would like some developers and coders for the game, and some artists. It would be a good to have as well, as I would also be helping on that in that part. And writing and storyboarders, that's also something that I would like to have part of the team. And the game testers who would test out the game to see if everything is going well so far, to see if we're making any good progress. And but the more important the important part for this is teamwork. So we all work together, we all pitch in as a group. And here we have a teaser, so you could watch that. All right. Yep, that was the teaser, and that's all I have for now. Thank you so much for this, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.
Hi everybody, I'm Rory. This is my game. It's called Amped Up. Show enough. From the streets to the stage, shred your way to revenge. That's the pitch. It's kind of like a rhythm battle game. Like kind of cartoony art style, comic book art style, inspired by like stuff like Friday Night Funkin'. If you guys played Club Penguin, The Club, um, uh, show enough. And like this on the side is just kind of like I wanted to have like a grungier feel. Um. I've done like some basic concept stuff. I kind of want there to be like the main playthrough is kind of like story, and then after that you can kind of go back and like play each of the stages. The goal is for you to be able to like have different save slot. Um, Character customization, of course, that's the best part of any game. And then this is kind of like just what the basic stage would look like, basic rhythm stuff. I kind of have most of the story, don't have any of the code. Don't know how to do that, never done this before. But I am excited to like try it out and like join maybe other pitches. Act one starts with rock bottom. Rock bottom. Okay. Um, your up and coming band kicks you out. They think you're a weak link. They leave you with nothing but your instrument. That is so sad. There's a dramatic zoom. You're devastated, but you realize you got to get revenge. It's only up from here. Boom! Title sequence. You set up on a street corner, and you start playing, trying to make enough money to get your life together. Boom! Hobo. He's like, "Hey man, this is my street corner. You're gonna have to move." You already lost everything, bro. You cannot lose your street corner too. So you have to fight him. He whips out an instrument you guys throw down. After you beat enough hobos, you make enough money, you can kind of like get your life together. You start playing at coffee shops. You're going up against indie musicians, jazz people. They're looking down on you crazy. They're like, you do not got that. You suck. Go back to the streets. You have to beat enough of them, and then boom, you're like, you've got a following now. Now you can start playing at backyard shows, and people actually care about your songs. At the end of this one, you get a second member of your group. Congratulations, guys. And then at the end of this one, you'll also get a third member. Um, you guys basically are just getting a following here. Act five is like the underground. You're drawing in big crowds. You've got three members of your band. You guys have solidified your sound. This is it. This is make it or break it. So you guys are playing a show, you beat all the bands here, and then boom, music exec. He's like, "Hey man, you guys sound wonderful. You guys sound great. I want you guys to play the biggest gig of all time. Proper noun." And then you're like, "Man, of course, absolutely, what an honor." But then you guys find out you've been double booked. Boom, tragedy. And then the other band that they've booked, shocker, your old band. You have to throw down. Boom, boo, fart cloud. You guys beat them, obviously, or you don't and you suck. But you beat them, hopefully, and you guys win. La da la. Wonderful job. Great job, guys. The MVP, I'm basically just looking for like a character, kind of like I had drawn at the beginning, like just you, the enemy, bare minimum, like some song for you to play along to. The rhythm era, rising mechanic, an accuracy window, a hype meter, like at the bottom for notes that you've hit versus notes that you've missed, and then a level reset. Like if you miss enough, then like the game ends, you start over. Blah blah blah, character design stuff. I'm basically just looking for coders. Like I said, I've never done any of this before, so like anybody, any help is appreciated. There are different like levels. So if you are a musician and like you're better at one thing and like you're not like a rock guy, you're more pretentious jazz musician, then like that works out. Um, so I don't know, anything, everything, artists, story writers. Like I said, I want the main playthrough to be story. So like if you want to write crazy romance, go crazy. I don't care. That's it. I'm here for the experience, so I don't
Your
really.
lovers and the rival teams.
Oh, there you go. You have to win them back. That's beautiful.
It's awesome.
That's all I've got. That was amped up. Please join.
Okay, I got a question.
Absolutely.
So when you win against like one of the hobos, can you like slap the hell out of them with your guitar or something?
Hey man, it's your coding. You can do whatever you want. I do not care. If, if that's what we present at the end, that's what we present at the end.
That's how we should remember.
Yes. Ending. Well, I would hope you engine. I had originally said Unity, but I think when I was presenting this to the actual board, they had said something else would have been better. But like I said, never done this before. I have no idea.
Did they suggest Godot?
Yes. That is the one. I was scared of butchering it, but yes, that one. Any other questions? I, I'm good with Godot. I don't.
No, I'll optimize mine, don't worry. Okay. All right. So this is my presentation, Dwellers of Derinkuyu. I did pitch this last year as or last semester as Dwellers, but I changed the name and some of the story. And it's presented by me, Jack Blatcher. I was part of the Boogie Nights presentation, the infamous one. So yeah, that's me. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. So this is the story so far. You're an archaeologist and your colleague has gone missing. He was last known entering the ancient underground city of Derinkuyu, which is located in Turkey, and that's a real place, by the way. You go to try and find out what has happened to your missing friend by following the trail he left behind. And as you venture deeper and deeper into the ancient city, the mysteries of the city and why your friend went missing start to unravel. Next slide. Okay. This is the gameplay so far. The game will be made in Unreal Engine 5 from a first-person perspective with a pretty simple gameplay loop. Close to the start of the game, the main enemy, the Dwellers, will be revealed to the player. The only options upon encountering the enemy is to run, hide, and distract. And some of the other elements in the game will be notes you find from your missing colleague, and some puzzle elements will also be in the game. Okay, yeah, this is a couple of videos. They're pretty short, of just some of the progress I made last semester. Mute one of them. Mute the one where I'm talking, because progress update to Dwellers. Yeah, just so like it doesn't get, it's not like confusing. I guess I don't know. Yeah, so like you can see there's like running and like flashlights and crouching and mantling. On the right video, I think it shows like picking up a note as well. And then on the left, and on the left you can see proning as well. Yeah, look at that, that's cool. All right, and then it picks up the note. It's really awkward without commentary. Okay. There you go, the notes. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think you go to the next slide. I mean, the rest is just kind of like talking, and then it was pretty weird without it. Okay. This is some inspiration, which is the ancient city of Derinkuyu. This is like kind of the main change from last semester. This is a real place in Turkey. That was an ancient city that held like 20,000 people. And I thought it was like a perfect setting for a horror game because it's like based on a real place rather than like a generic cave. So yeah, that's the biggest change I would say. And then the the main gameplay inspiration is Outlast. I kind of want to recreate the feeling of dread of like not being able to fight against the main antagonist, but being able to like distract it or being able to hide from it, but it's being like an unstoppable threat. Next slide, please. And this is a movie called The Descent. I specifically wanted to take inspiration from the creatures of the movie because they've adapted to the harsh living conditions underground. And so it's not like it's based in reality. It's not like they're just like some fantasy creatures or something. They've just adapted to the living conditions. It's not gonna really look like the bottom right. It's gonna be scarier, I hope. And yeah, next slide, please. All right, this is who I need. I basically need everyone. I basically did this by myself last semester because of how many pitches there were. 3D modelers, writers, audio designers, programmers is not super necessary. I mean, I would love another programmer, but I've been doing like most of the programming by myself. with a blueprint coding on Unreal, which is like pretty streamlined and like visual coding, which I really enjoy, and 3D animators as well if possible. Next slide. Okay, this is what I want to get done this semester. The MVP will be one small cave environment with the enemy and the player, just one enemy, and the enemy will have like a basic AI searching mechanic to try and find and kill the player. The player will be able to sprint, crouch, and hide. I'm nearly done with that. I've done sprinting and crouching, but I haven't done hiding or distracting. Player will have a flashlight, which is a headlamp, which I've already done from last semester, and the note reading, which I've already done from last semester. So basically just those top 3 things need to be done this semester. And that's it. Thank you for listening. That is my presentation. And the next slide is also like just some contact info if you want to like talk about it or whatever.
Hello everyone, I'm Sammy Jimenez. Today I'll be showing you my pitch for a little game called A Roman's Requiem. So, getting right into it, what is A Roman's Requiem? ARR started off as a game pitch for the GDC back in 2023, conceived by me and a few of my freshman buddies. You take control of a Roman soldier back in ancient Rome's twilight years, in what I would describe as a vertical action scroller. To give you a better idea of how the gameplay works, please take a look at this demo of the first stage in the game. So, what you just saw is the first level of the game. As you can see, the gameplay consists of chaining slash combos across hordes of enemies as you attempt to reach the end of the stage. Make no mistake, this is a fast-paced game in which quick reactions will be rewarded accordingly. The ultimate goal of the game isn't just to beat the stages, as you can always test your abilities further by trying to get more points or beating levels faster. Now, let's talk about development of the game itself. ARR is made in Godot version 4.2.2. As it is, the primary mechanics have been laid out and completed. So, where does our minimum viable product stand? This is what we're targeting with the MVP. 5 more stages with custom tile sets, enemies, and gimmicks, cleaner menus and an end stage screen, and 12 in-between stages that mix and match assets from the primary 6 levels. Basically, our main goal is to flesh out the content of the game and work off the foundation that is already present. In terms of stretch goals, we have Endless Mode, in which you play until you die, and custom music for each primary level. With all this in mind, who do we need for this project? Well, we could really use sprite artists, programmers for GDScript, which is a lot like Python, and composers. However, if you're eager to join development, we'll take you, no experience needed at all. With all that said and done, thank you for watching my pitch for A Roman's Requiem. We hope to see you soon. And remember, will your faith hold? Find out December 2025.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening CPP Game Dev Club. My name is Brian, the team lead for the game E-Mune, The First Falling. Chances are, by the time you hear this recording, I am currently in the hospital getting my hands checked out because they are injured, so I apologize for not being here in person to pitch my game to you all. Additionally, please excuse any background noise. Nonetheless, I am happy to share with you all my vision for my game. A quick summary of the game. E-Mune, The First Falling is the first chapter of my title named E-Mune, which is a play on words for the word E-Mune, directly taken from the immune system, and electronic, since this is mostly a digitalized world. Ironic, since I'm pretty sick today. Hosted on Roblox's game engine which uses Luau, essentially an easier Python, E-Mune TFF is a turn-based RPG with fast-paced elements, and these fast-paced elements will be explained in the gameplay portion of this presentation. It's going to have galactical space theming, like Star Wars and whatnot, but it's centered around living versions of diseases, illnesses, and viruses, and these viruses are called the Gross, which is a cataclysmic radical infection that is like a zombie apocalypse. Since E-Mune is more story-heavy as it is on the gameplay side, though there is a nice balance between them, the first chapter will explore a relatively small group of individuals that fight against the Gross called the E-Mune. Hey, that's the title of our game. It's named after the immune system, and it serves to rectify the Elixis, which is the name of the universe, and find out the source of the Gross' indelible spreading. Specifically, the story will dive on a small part of the Immune, who try to uncover two young Japanese girls' memories and save a fallen angel from the horrors of the Gross origins. This game takes immense inspiration from these three games right here, Honkai Star Rail, Amori, and Deltarune, and it might be easy to see why. All of these are turn-based single-player games, and that is basically what Immune is. We have the combat system of HSR, the art style of Amori, and the fast-paced combat system of Deltarune, all forged into one. The largest GIF file you see here is an example of what the Immune gameplay will look like. It was designed on Roblox Studio, and it will feature every single mechanic in Honkai Star Rail, one of the inspirations mentioned previously. Each character within the game will have their own unique abilities, and the overall goal of the game is to defeat enemies, being the Gross or some other enemies that you may encounter. A slight difference that Immune has from HSR though is its fast-paced gameplay, where occasionally we'll hop into the realm of Deltarune, where the enemy will attack you in a 3D state and you'll have to dodge real-time attacks. You'll also engage in fast-paced attacks of your own, through quick actions and frenzies. Here are some character designs for some of the characters. As you can see, it is clearly inspired by Almocat's style of drawing. These are some characters you can play as in the game. Now, what will our MVP contain? At minimum, it would be best to design the combat system to its fullest with all of its little niche qualities, and integrate the turn-based combat system with at least one character of each combat type, whether that's playing defense, attacking, or supporting, fully implemented and tested. If time allows, we may add the real-time combat system such as dodging, and map designs, character models, and enemy models may be added. So who do we need? We need programmers who know a lot about Luau, Roblox's language model. It involves a lot of server-client work, despite it being single-player. We also need 2D animators and 3D animators, though these people are not necessarily needed for the MVP. If you want my, as well as my cousin who works on this game with me's contact information, it is shown below. I'll give you 5 seconds. And that's it. Thank you everyone for listening, and to CPP's Game Dev Club for making this opportunity possible. I'll see you all after my recovery.
All right, so hopefully this presentation works. I might have killed PowerPoint to this a little bit for how much stuff I put, but so hi, my name is Wilson. I'd like your help in making a game called Rock Hard Fighters, which is based on something called Rock Hard Gladiators. I'd like to make a 2D fighting game. But first, let's go over a little background. So, what was Rock Hard Gladiators? Is this community for stick fight animations, and how it would work is animators would create a character and then challenge one another, and they each make an animation of their characters fighting. So here's an example. Here's the same two characters fighting, animated by two different people, right? And who they it be put up to a vote in the community, and whoever's animation got the most votes would win. Now, this format led to just a decade's worth of stick fight animations, and that I grew up watching, with like recurring characters, little mini plot lines. That lower left one is my personal favorite. So check that out. Check that one out if you have the time. And it's this that I'd like to turn into a fighting game. So, fighting game, you might recognize the genre like Street Fighter or Guilty Gear. Here's some others that I feel like I hope that our game might resemble. Uh, so yeah, and here's what the minimal viable product might look like. So maybe a little splash art, and then right as you boot up the game, it'll start, and then it's just two people able to control two characters, which will be the same character for the minimum viable product, and you just duke it out, play a fighting game, and as soon as someone gets reduced to 0 health, I just imagine that it'll loop back and you get to fight again. So keeping it very minimum. The important part is making these characters feel good to control, making their moves feel good, and making comboing or trying to defend feel good in the hands. So I feel for the minimum viable product, I feel like it's very fitting to make just the first character, Alpha, who's the most recognizable RHT character. Mainly because I feel like there's a lot of high quality animations of him, so there's a lot of reference footage to go off of, and his videos are the ones I've watched the most. So I have the most ideas of like what moves that he might have, or and like what special moves and so on. So team members I'll need, I'd like animators, specifically stick fight animators, and I welcome like beginners because I feel like I don't know, maybe the stick fight animation nature of it might make it beginner friendly to just focus on your fundamentals of animation, things like that. And plus, like I said, there's a decade's worth of footage online to use as reference. I'd also need sound designers to work with the animators to really sell the impact of the fight, like landing hits and weapons clashing. Uh, and it helps too if you're fighting game enthusiasts. I'll also need artists and UI designers to give it the extra aesthetic appeal that's apart from just the animation. That might not necessarily be needed for the MVP, but it's still nice to have. And I've also already done some work in Godot 3.5. Still reach out if you only know Godot 4, because I know that one might be more popular. But I've worked with both, so I can help acclimate you to 3.5. And I don't think we'll be working on anything where the differences will be important. So the first stretch goal will probably be making more characters, so we could pull from like, all the characters that have been made over the years. But RHG has been about like making your own character and expressing your own creativity. So if you have an idea for a character that you'd like to turn into a fighting game character, we can work on that. And some more stretch goals is add some more, give it some more aesthetic appeal. So UI elements, uh, a character select screen for the characters we make, some stage backgrounds, and lastly, some uh, maybe make it playable online, so you can body scrubs online. And yeah, so I'd like your help. Contact me if you're interested, and that's my presentation. Thank you.
But anyways, you should join my pitch though. My pitch is amazing. Look, it's Jenny Quasar, science girl. That's right, women in the STEM field. Yeah, there we are. All right, great. All right, next slide. Next slide. Okay, but what is Jenny Quasar? What's going on? All right. Well, Jenny Quasar, brilliant science girl. Okay, she's a child inventor. She goes on all kinds of wacky adventures with her friends and her bully slash love interests, right? Crazy shit happens. One time she made a giant cheese monster. Another time a homework robot almost assassinated the president. Okay? Classic adventures that you'd see on like Nickelodeon Cartoon Network. But this time, she really dropped the ball because she accidentally brought home a parasitic alien life form that is slowly overtaking her friends and family, turning them into ungodly, demonic abominations whose flesh tears and rips and scalds and turns black. And then she says her classic catchphrase, Gadzooks. And now she's got to save the day. Next slide. All right, so I tried to. Initially, this was going to be a Johnny Quasar game. So on the left there, you can see my attempt to capture the science boy look. I realized I wasn't that good at it, so I immediately pivoted to something I am good at: furries. All right, so on the right there is my attempt to make a science cat. You know, gee, I wonder where that idea came from. But you know, Then I figured we're gonna stick with the cat. Next slide. But there she is. It's Jenny Quasar. We love her. We love her. Scientist, genius. Like 8th, 11th grade. It's like ambiguous. She's just like a young kid person. You know, typical cartoon character. You know, she has all kinds of goofy antics. May or may not be willing to sacrifice her friends and loved ones in the name of science. We don't know. Next. Well, listen, well, we got some more characters here, right? Eugene Appin, your classic nerd, your Carl Weezer type, if you haven't picked up on it yet. He's always the worry wart. He's always like, I don't know if we should be studying demons, Jenny. And classic Eugene. He's of course the first to fall. The first that Jenny personally witnesses having his skull rip in half as a new form burst out of it. Classic Eugene. I got Steve Chavez. Jenny's more eclectic friend. He's a little bit of an odd duck. Really is into the fantasy genre. And he's very hyperactive. Not very good at homework or paying attention at all, really. Mm. The second to fall, have a big old his chest rip open, turn into a classic demon, you know. And of course, to round out the gang, we got Lucy Schwartziak, who is, of course, the bully love interest. She's kind of a tough, rude and tumble tomboy, probably a dog, just to kind of, be the opposite of Jenny. Yeah, visual storytelling here. And she's the tough one. She's always calling Jenny a nerd and a dork. But when they're alone, sometimes I don't know. She kind of likes that. Jenny's kind of a smart gal. I don't know. Ooh, romantic tension. She also gets turned into a demon. Don't worry about it. It's fine. You know. Mm. Next slide. Oh yeah, so I tried designing some people. I meant to throw in like a couple dozen designs, but I had to stay home and I was feeling a little sick, so uh, my productivity kind of got shot for 2 3 days. But I got some in there. We got some Eugene Apnin. Uh, we got some for Lucy. I kind of went for a Doberman look the first one, and the second one's more of a generic cartoon dog. And of course, we got Jenny saying her classic catchphrase "Gadzooks" as the blood of her friends and family splatter all over her face. Good stuff with the dog. Oh yeah, and the demon aliens themselves. I never did get to designing them. So I made a image board. This is kind of a collage of the general vibe I want going for them. Definitely the Kanite from Delta Room is very much a major inspiration. That kind of skeletal, sharp, jagged, organic lines look. The amalgamated, ripped bone and meat structure to it. Definitely the height of the I forget what they're called in Minecraft. These new guys, I haven't played it in a while, but they're excuse me. You know, and then of course the gross gore and body horror from Resident Evil and Prey. Of course, you got those elements in there as well. I definitely appreciate an artist helping me out with that. Next slide. This here should have been moved. My bad, you guys. But this is just saying that you don't need to know how to animate in 3D because it turns out there's just a lot of just like free ones out in the wild. Crazy. And for this game in particular, I kind of want to go for a pre-rendered look, as you can see with that Mario sprite and that DK sprite. I just really like the primitive, uncanny look of like 3D models digitized in these like crunchy, pixelated forms. I got a few links there that also help us turn Blender rigs and animations into sprite sheets, how to digitize them, add pixel plugins, that sort of thing. Next slide. Yeah. So if you didn't catch it yet, my inspiration is very much Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius. Fantastic show. Love the writing. You know. And in particular, the name of it came from a prototype of Jimmy Neutron, Johnny Quasar. And since I'm kind of going for like a horror element, you know, of like, oh, it's a classic kids show that's been sort of overtaken by this evil demonic force, you know. So I figure having sort of a elements of a proto type of a show that does exist to give it that kind of uncanny feeling, you know, like in some other universe, Jenny Quasar was this popular, semi-popular show on Nicktoons, you know. Jenny Quasar.exe is kind of fucked up. My copy of Jenny Quasar, the video game on Game Boy, just like completely fucked up. Yeah. So the visuals and the general idea of like a crappy licensed game that turns into a horror game was kind of inspired by this game here, Jimmy Negatron, which has some pretty uncanny and unsettling moments. A picture on the right specifically, and I got to give to my credit to the YouTuber Nitro Rad, who specifically tied this game and its mechanics to a survival horror, which is kind of what I'm going for with my gameplay. Hmm. Yeah, it's like pets. This also is another shout out here. SpongeMan9 on Game Jolt, which is another one of these bootleg creepypasta games. The one on the left is not that actually. SpongeBob Super Sponge, but like again, look. I mean, look at these graphics. Holy shit! I mean, the fish. What's going on with that fish? Hmm. There might be. We haven't found them yet. So, who do I need to help me with my parody of licensed platforming video games that turns out to be a survival horror? Well, programmers, you know, I'm not too so great at that, admittedly. I'd really love people who are also good at 3D art. You know, I'm not so good at modeling myself. Uh, and of course, 2D sprites. Although I think we'll mostly use pre-rendered stuff, we could definitely throw in some background elements that are just regular sprites. Cleaning up renders as well would be nice. And now I'm thinking about it, I probably need artists to help me design some of the characters as well, or at least clean them up. Sound designers, definitely. A horror game is almost built entirely out of the sound design, so this should really be a focal point. You know, we really need that eerie atmosphere. We need that tense, loud, blaring music when you're caught by the enemy. You know, we need the enemies themselves to sound completely deranged and even kind of meta in a way. I have this idea where they can the sound they make, quote unquote, breaks the chip of the Game Boy sound chip, so it's like there's kind of a glitch. There's a glitchy nature to their sound effects. Also, writers. I do want to have small exchanges of dialogue between Jenny and her friends as they, you know, get horrifically mangled. So, you know, that'll be fun. And Jenny Quasar may or may not have a villainous monologue at the end of the experience. These are the these are the primary ideas I have in mind for what engines we'll need to use. You know, I'm very familiar with Go. Programmer. I think Godot is going to be easiest because it's mostly 2D graphics. Although I do want to incorporate some light 3D elements, but that should be able to be happen. And if not, if it's causing too much trouble, we could just make them pre-rendered sprites like everything else. GitHub, Blender, Godot are the main trio here that we're going to be using. Maybe a little Sprite again for specific elements that we don't want or need to render in 3D. Maybe I think there's supposed to be like a transparent Unity logo in the top left, which I don't think we'll need, but in case we think we as a group decide, there it is. Thank you. In case I have programmers who are more experienced in Unity, and if we all collectively agree, it'll just be easier to handle all this in Unity, then we can change to that. But we're probably not going to use it. Here's the basic MVP. You're a shape. You're a vague shape. You can walk. You can jump. There might be a platform or two you can jump on. And then there's these rectangles representing enemies. They have a vision cone. If you enter it, they chase you. That's it, really. That's all we really need. We may not even necessarily. Some stretch goals, maybe some light puzzle elements. I'm thinking kind of like Resident Evil sort of dealio. You have to find keys or like read notebooks to find the numbers to a combination. Or like there's some background element you have to count, like, oh, you have to count the Einstein statues in the background and the Ayn Rand paintings or whatever to get the combination. A weapon that can stun enemies temporarily, but is very limited ammo. Very survival horror. Hiding spots, I'm not 100% about, but I think it'd be good just to have. Because I feel like jumping to avoid the enemies might get a little repetitive. So that'd be good. And finally, a boss fight. Ooh, fun little boss fight where the enemy just kind of does their attack and then they accidentally hit themselves or they run into a wall and then you got to jump on it. Basic stuff. Basic. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Hey guys, I couldn't come up with a title in time, so here we go. Zombie Eeffoc 25-cent Barbershop Fighter. Yes. I'm inspired by these games, Cryptid the Necrodancer and Dying Light. So the premise, you're surrounded by zombies in like an arena, and there's gonna be a song playing, and you just have to survive until the end. You'll be fighting to the beat. There's a beat indicator at the bottom, and you can upload your own songs. Um, you can do different kinds of attacks. It's gonna be in first person, and enemies will also fight to the beat. Crazy combos. Like you can jump and you can kick, and you'll look like this guy. Well. We're using Godot. It's an image you didn't see. Um, I'm gonna need a handful of programmers, some 3D modelers, animators. I'm gonna avoid that word. And musicians. The MVP, it's playable. It feels like good to play, like polished. There's at least one playable song, some combos, and some different types of enemies. Thank you for listening. Yeah. Thank you.
Alright, so this is Product Burg, but everything's a placeholder right now, even the art and even the name. I plan to change it because I don't really have like a theme or story set right now. So it's a roguelike deck builder with like Genshin-like elemental reactions. So yeah, the main goal is to make a fun roguelike with crazy combos with relics and skills and everything. Gameplay inspiration, Slay the Spire and Across the Obelisk. As you can see, they look very similar. And yeah, yeah, I don't have a theme. I worked on this game for like a couple months last semester by myself. But yeah, Avatar vibes, like elemental clans, fantasy, and yeah, just focused on the elemental idea. Gameplay video. So tile screen, you choose your characters. They have like, oops. There you go. So you can choose your characters. They have starting skills, and you choose like the positions at the start. And then right here, you like choose one of the fights, and eventually you'll like learn what each enemy does, and you can decide if you're strong enough for like a harder level with better rewards. Like here's the skills and what they do, has a description. Okay, so oh, space not work. Okay, sorry. Skip it. So yeah, right now the combos are the turn loop is that you choose all 4 skills in their orders, but I'm planning to change that into individual um like skill usage, and then the enemies will attack in between. But right now, like all your enemies go, and then all the enemy or yeah, all your allies go, and then the enemies go. So you see like there's reactions, and then enemies attack, and so that's the main gameplay loop. There's also these tokens up here, and you get tokens by doing reactions, and then like skills will cost a certain amount of tokens. That like some skills only target the very back enemy. You have to target it. Skip that. So yeah. So here's like a reaction guide I made to remind you of what everything does. You'll get relics that like increase multipliers and damage numbers on certain reactions. So this will like update when you get new relics and stuff. Yeah, like a bunch of stats and everything. So you end the turn. There's also a shop implemented. You can buy relics and also new skills. So yeah, this will show like the multiplier, and that one increases it, and then it'll update to 2.75. Yeah, and you'll choose keep going, different fights and different level ups and everything. Yeah. A lot of placeholders now.
Someone in the general said, "Watch out, Nintendo lawyers."
Yeah, no, this will not make it to the final release. Okay, so MVP and stretch goals. Current progress, there's like a few fights and a mini boss and a final boss. There's 5 characters for one for each element. Every possible reaction is implemented, but there's some that I want to rework because they're not very interactive. There's level up rewards and a relic system and a shop. So goals would be like a completable run, um, fights, and then bosses. Probably too many bosses and two like bigger bosses, and then it'll end the run. I want to make one more character for each element, so like there'll be like supports for each element and everything, tanks and healers and stuff. Yeah, like unlockables outside of each run. And then art and music, I have nothing, just placeholders. Goals would be art for the characters, at least. Maybe simple enemy designs, and then a couple backgrounds, and then a theme for normal battles, boss battles, and then a shop theme. Yeah, Godot, of course. Um, I'll take anyone. Artists would probably be the most helpful, but yeah, I just wanted to pitch to motivate myself to finish the game. But I'll take anyone to help me out with that in my Discord. And yeah, any questions? Good. Yeah, that's it.
So, this semester I will be pitching Heathen, a 2v2. Just kidding. Just kidding. I am done with Heathen. Those who know will know. Uh, actually, actually, this semester I am pitching Sharpshooter Tilda, a wacky 3D Wild West first-person boomer shooter. Um, the music that is playing right now is called Cowboy Stuff Updated, made by Princess for a prior game that happened in this club called Cowboy Zelda and then Gunslinger Hilda. That song never made it into those games, by the way, so I have something to rectify. But what is the idea of Sharpshooter Tilda? So the general idea is that it's a 3D wild spaghetti western FPS. I want this game to have a boomer shooter game feel. I want it to have stylish gameplay. In a sense, I want player expression through creative combat. So once more than just guns get into the game, uh, that's what I want to. What is wrong with the projector? Sorry, Ocelot is too powerful. And of course, in the spirit of spaghetti western stuff, I wanted to have plenty of references, which means I should probably watch my movies because I've only seen the Dollars trilogy. So as I mentioned before, this game is standing on the shoulders of giants. It is based off of Cowboy Zelda and Gunslinger Hilda. It's kind of like a continuation of this thing. I'm making it into a trilogy. These games were made by former GDC president Larry. He is not here with us anymore. He's employed. uh, and of course, this is also an homage to the club because I think the first project I worked on here was Gunslinger Hilda. And again, I met plenty of great people here, and I think the trajectory of my life has changed. So, coming to this club, so I definitely owe these individuals something in return. Um, so the inspirations are mainly Quake, Ultra Kill, which is where the stylish stuff comes from, but I might want to tone it down. Ultra Kill is a little out there. I love that game, by the way, but I'm more of a Doom Eternal guy. And Red Dead Redemption, because you got cowboys, so I want a little bit of grittiness to it, but not too much. And of course, it's going to be inspired by the Dollars trilogy because, again, more gunslingers and outlaws and sharpshooters. So hopefully, I get to make something in line with some of the designs that are going on here. Like, for example, I was thinking of, if it's a boomer shooter, you got to have some armor pickup. So what's your armor pickup? That thing Clint Eastwood made with I think he broke apart a minecart and then used a plate on his chest for it. So stuff like that. And of course, Gunslinger Hilda and Cowboy Zelda. How is Sharpshooter Tilda being made? We are using good. And of course, because it's 3D, we're gonna do it in Blender. Our version control is GitHub. And we're gonna do it with the indomitable human spirit because I do not want another heathen incident, which I do hope to go back to that game sometime, maybe in another form, but it is ultimately my own undertaking for that. But let's have an MVP, right? So, what does Tilda's minimum viable product look like? Playable character. We want a first-person view model. Doesn't even have to be animated. It could just be the gun. We want movement, and we want you to be able to die. That is an important part of video games. You got to lose too. So one weapon, maybe a revolver, maybe a rifle. It's something that has to shoot. Revolver because it's a Western thing, but maybe a rifle because it has sharpshooter in the name, so like a repeater with a scope on it or something like that. Of course, we want pickups and maybe power-ups, so health, ammo, armor. That's got to be pretty simple to make. Quad damage. So going back to the boomer shooter stuff, I can't maybe find a better name for it that isn't quad damage. Maybe make it like a bottle of whiskey that makes you shoot stronger, but something like that. Um, I would like to have some sounds in it, just because quiet MVPs are a little awkward. So just basic stock sounds probably. So guns, movement. Of course, something to shoot at. So maybe one or two enemy types, something that shoots back at you, or something that chases you and tries to stab you. And of course, one mostly a dev level. So just as much as I would like to have an actual level, probably a test environment where it could be like, oh, that's the guy that chases you, shoot him. That's the guy that shoots at you, shoot him back. Stretch goals. Maybe a full level, maybe several, multiple weapons. So a melee weapon, ranged, other ranged varieties. So like a shotgun, something projectile based. So you're throwing stuff. Maybe something goofy to go in with the sillier side of Western movies and games. And of course, a big thing that I would like for this is a lasso, because how can you be a sharpshooter, a gunslinger, a cowboy without a lasso, right? The current idea I have for it is it'll be used for traversal, so holder points in levels where you could hook onto and basically grapple yourself. Maybe it's something that could be used for combat tech. So if there's like a smaller enemy type, you could reel it in. If it's a bigger one, you could reel yourself to it. Or maybe if it's super small, you could grab it, spin it around, and throw it back at the enemies. I would like to implement it into some level puzzles. So maybe akin to like Indiana Jones temples, you can use the lasso to push and pull things around to get through like a catacomb or something like that. And just generally for advanced movement. Story, again, I haven't really thought about it. It's been like a silly idea that's been spinning around in my head because the whole history behind Tilda is Larry asked ChatGPT, I think, about, oh, find me like alternate names for Gunslinger Hilda, and Sharpshooter Tilda came out. So as a one-off joke, I was like, you know what, Larry, if I'm still around in GDC, I'll make this game before I graduate. We'll have a year left, assuming nothing gets messed up. So now is the time. Uh, so story-wise, I was thinking a somewhat distant continuation. The Age of Outlaws is coming to an end, featuring mentions of the legendary Cowboy Zelda and Gunslinger Hilda. And of course, you got like gun tricks, ragdoll, spaghetti western things referenced in Endless, and so on and so forth, right? All stretch goals. We're getting too unfocused here. This is the dev team I may need. This is tentative because I haven't put out anything on Discord, so you can't even join this thing yet. MVP, programmers for gameplay mechanics and enemy AI. I will probably need 2D artists for concept art. I could also take care of that. I would like to take care of everything because I like to do everything, but I'm also lazy and Night Rain has its clutches on me. Um, I would like 3D artists, so everything. I could also work on this. I do have people that may help out like for this, but again, they are employed, so might want to recruit people from the club. And of course, I say audio engineers, but again, something self-made or stock sounds to keep up with this. Stretch goals, again, audio engineers, again, for more refined sounds. Musicians for an in-game score. I might have somebody for this. Uh, Programmers, again, maybe we could make like a boss fight. And of course, 2D artists and or animators to work on some of the maybe story aspects if we ever get that far and some texture work. That concludes my presentation. Access to this pitch is coming soon, maybe, eventually. Uh, Hopefully I get to make the MVP for Sharpshooter Tilda. That's some jelly beans. I love jelly beans. All right, very cool. And that officially concludes our game pitches. I'm surprised we got it all done in 2 days. So, again, usual spiel. This is our Steam group. Join us. We haven't really been doing anything with this, but maybe if people show enough of an interest, we could do game nights. I used to host Halo game nights every week, but that died down at some point. But I wouldn't mind trying to do that again if people are interested. Uh, our Instagram, this is where you see usually our meeting announcements. Maybe I could get the board to do some silly stuff with this, but again, we could. It's kind of like a record of the stuff we did. And of course, here's the sign-in sheet again if you came late, both in here or in the Discord. That concludes our meeting today. Thank you.